Babies born near oil and gas wells are up to 70% more likely to have congenital heart defects, new study shows.
Here's a summary of the article.
Proximity to oil and gas sites makes pregnant mothers up to 70% more likely to give birth to a baby with congenital heart defects, according to a new study. Led by Dr. Lisa McKenzie at the University of Colorado, researchers found that the chemicals released from oil and gas wells can have serious and potentially fatal effects on babies born to mothers who live within a mile of an active well site, as about 17 million Americans do. In areas with the highest intensity of oil and gas extraction activity, mothers were 40 to 70% more likely to give birth to babies with congenital heart defects. We observed more children were being born with a congenital heart defect in areas with the highest intensity of oil and gas well activity, said McKenzie in a statement. The study was more precise than previous reports about the link between oil and gas extraction and CHDs. The researchers studied families in which the pregnant mother lived near an active oil or gas well up to the second month of pregnancy, when fetal cardiac development takes place. This study that found a 40 to 70% increased risk of congenital heart defects in children born close to oil and gas infrastructure is extremely convincing. Biologist Sandra Steingraber was among the experts on the dangers of fossil fuel extraction who pointed to the study as the latest evidence that allowing oil and gas wells to operate, especially near communities, is a public health hazard.
This post received a score of 3,714, with an upvote ratio of 95%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
The article doesn't seem to say anything about what the mechanism is, other than chemicals released. Is the mechanism groundwater pollution or what?
Worked in the oil industry. Chemical leaks, chemical insertion, all the ethanes, H2S. There are all sorts of fun stuff that ends up in the ground and the air. Some days you could walk outside the cabin and taste the air. Can't imagine it was good for me. Edit: the environmental scientists are often used to clean up said spills. That is if they are reported. I have heard stories of spills going unannounced. That can easily end up in the water table. At that point it's in the hands of city purification. If you have a personal well, good luck.
Am environmental scientist who worked in the backend for 2 years. Can confirm. Lots of spills go unreported. All and underreported as far as volume. But as I always tell people, oil spills aren't the problem. Those clean themselves up eventually. It's the produced water and chem spills. A produced water spills literally salts the earth. It's almost impossible to get plants to grow after a spill.
You can tell me about the salts. My FPC would be encased in salt by the end of the days. It was horrible. I only know about 10 of the chemicals as they were not my field of expertise. I worked with the lithology. I can say that 4 chemicals I worked with alone were carcinogenic. I am quite happy to have a desk job now. Never going back to the oil industry.
The list of chemicals is extensive, and although useful in industry, most of them are not healthy for humans to be directly exposed to. From crude we are able to extract a crazy number of petrochemical compounds, and this is why it is so valuable and useful.
This is why Denton banned fracking. The fracking companies kept breaking the rules and were fracking too close to homes, playgrounds, and schools. So Denton voted in favor of a ban. Then that fucker Greg Abbott overturned it because he's a fucking piece of shit and I wish him the worst.
It is easier to pressure your local government than fight the federal government than enacting legislation or regulation.
Denton, Texas is also more educated in a more concentrated area compared to the rest of the state. We have 2 universities and they're building a community college all within a few miles from one another. It isn't a very big town, either.
The fracking industry is killing our children. Ban fracking and invest in renewables.
Oh, but it's not the fracking industry, that's completely harmless. The problem are the subcontractors within the fracking industry. Totally different situation.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.